right, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible, but it's something different. And I made this training like a few weeks ago. So I hope that everybody enjoys it. We're gonna be talking about monthly business planning today, and this is something a little bit different probably than what you're used to. But as you guys know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So today, oh, I didn't do this. We're not waiting for anybody. But have your cameras on, be present. Remember, Alex says this all the time, and I love it. How you show up to cause is how you show up to your business. Obviously, if for some reason you can't have your camera on, you're driving, you're distracted, that's fine. But make sure you come back and internalize this training. So today we're going to be talking about focusing on function, on planning. How are you spending your time with your business? Are you working your business with intention, or are you just busy? For me, there was a time in my business where I was super, super busy and I wasn't being productive, and I had to make a switch. So we're going to be focusing on that today. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Adriana. You guys can find me at Unapologetically Adri. I do this business full time, but when I started, I wasn't full time. I was a student, and life was pretty hectic back then. I was a student. I was an intern. I was commuting. I was traveling. I was doing a lot. And what I loved about this business, which really appealed to me, was that I could fit it into different pockets of my time, right? Because when this business was first presented to me, my excuse, or one of my excuses, was that I didn't have the time to do this business, right? So when I found out that it could be flexible and I could fit it into different pockets of my time, I was like, whoa, this is perfect. So today we're going to be talking about these different definitions here. So let me see if I can move this so that you guys are able to see the whole thing at once. Okay. So first, we're going to be talking about selling days, right? So if you don't have them, it's fine. But if you can take out your calendars, your planners, if you have a whiteboard, if you can take that out, it'll probably be helpful to you during this meeting. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up because I have notes on this, but I don't have them on here. This is a PDF. So first up, we have selling days. So these are the days that you intend to work your business. So for example, right, we have holidays in the month. Maybe you celebrate Christmas. Maybe you celebrate Hanukkah. Maybe you celebrate Kwanzaa. You're not going to be working on those days. Maybe it's your birthday, right? New Year's Eve is coming up. And if you approach your business like that, instead of approaching it like, oh, I'm going to work it when I want to or when I have the time, you're going to have that like hobbyist mindset. You don't want to have a hobbyist mindset, because if you treat the business like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. So working your business with intention means sitting down and blocking out time to do certain actions. So whether it's having a power hour, whether it's blocking out time to get on or watch a training call, whether it's blocking out time to post on social media or to recruit, those are going to be those days that you're intentionally working your business, right? So here we have selling days. This is like, we're going to be talking about like customer facing. So the second one is points. So we're going to be talking about a way to count your activity. So for us, the way we refer to it is IPAs, income producing activities. So every activity counts as 1 point. This just allows us to quantify your efforts. And the goal is going to be to reach 10 points a day, so that we're not showing up just to show up. Like we have, if that makes sense, like we have a way to quantify this. Like, so for example, I like IPAs because IPAs give me a tangible, like I'm somebody who needs a task, right? So like the same way a lot of us, maybe you work a 9 to 5 in this business, and I'm going to pick on Jasmine because I know Jasmine works at a doctor's office, but when she shows up to work, she knows that she has to go through the voicemail, go through the inbox, right? Start pulling the files for the patients that are coming in that day. and whatnot. She has certain tasks, and based on whether or not she's completed those tasks, she's able to say, okay, it was a successful day, or this was an unsuccessful day, and now whatever I didn't complete today, I have to complete tomorrow. That's the same thing we have to do with this business, right? And there's certain things that you check off automatically, right? Because you know, all right, I'm gonna wake up, I have to check my back office, I gotta go into my team chats, like you have that rhythm of business already set. So third, we have automatic, and automatic is an existing relationship touch point. These include replenishment orders, which is our flagship orders, special occasions, results, touch points, etc. The fourth is a QS, which is going to stand for qualified suspect, or you can interchange that with the word prospect. And so we're talking about somebody who's interested in the business, right? So qualified is warm. This is you working with your warm market, right? So somebody who could be potentially interested in the business. And then the fifth one is the golden ratio. So the golden ratio, you guys probably know this, but our business is a numbers game, right? So you probably know after like 10 interactions, it's gonna result in a sale or somebody becoming your market partner, right? So think about if you have 10 people, you have 10 prospects, right? 3 conversations, and it's going to be 1 sale. That's the golden ratio that we're going to be going by. But like, don't worry, because all of this is obviously like throughout the presentation. So like I said, when you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So you probably have different ways that you've been taught to set up your month for success, like 4 power hours, 4 potential calls. I know I've done trainings like that, plan out your trainings, plan out your lives. That's 100% great. But while you're doing that, keep in mind, what are those working days? Do you want to work weekends? How much time are you spending into your business? Do you know how much time you're putting into your business on a daily basis, right? Are you time blocking, or are you fitting it in pockets of time, kind of like when you get the chance to be on your phone, right? You don't have to work weekends. I mean, for us personally, I think like the way I was brought into this business is like when people aren't working, we're working, right? So like when people get out of work after 5, we're working because that's when like their eyes are on us, right? When people aren't working on the weekends, we're working because that's when we have the chance to interact with them, right? But again, depending on how you set up your business, you can choose whether or not you want to work on weekends, whether or not you want to work on holidays, birthdays, like we talked about. So when it comes to your goals for the month, before I get into this, I want to pause right here because I actually like to block out my goals. So for me, I personally use a whiteboard. I use a planner, but like I like this visual a lot better because it gives me a chance to cross everything off. So here I have my December goals, and the minimum I have every month is to build 2 blocks. So here I have build 2 blocks, and usually like I just do these boxes. So I'll do one for when I change color, but I'll do one for a market partner, and then I'll do like 4 blue ones for my VIPs. And as I sign up a new market partner, this is like a new person I'm bringing into my organization, I fill this in, right? And I'll do the same thing for my VIPs. Then right now I'm qualifying for Vegas. Maybe you guys are trying to qualify for Director Summit or Leadership Summit, so you can supplement that here and add that onto your whiteboard. I have the reunion qualifications, and then I have my December PV, right? So I have, 4 out of 5 months qualified. The qualification period is from August to January. Here's my PV, I have it separated. So I'm ambitious, right? Because usually my PV is either 1,000 or 2,000, but I want to break that. Like I want to do a PR, so I have 3,000 here. And then the way that I separate it on this side is checkpoints. So we all know, you need, this is good habits for your business. Maybe you do this, maybe you don't, but 200 PV by the second, right? Once I get that done, I cross it out. 500 PV by the 5th. Once I get that done, I cross it out. Then I have my ranks. MMP, AMB, MB, MMB, and then my goal is AMM. So I always have this here, and I like that. And honestly, you can even, I've done this before where I put my rank, like I draw a rank map here in this section when there's not a trip I'm qualifying for. And that's how I plan out my business, because for me, I'm a super visual person. We have rank maps in the back office, so you could just print that off and do that. And then here I have a little tracker where for my PV, so it'll say like December 2021, and how we have it in our reunion tracker where it says, okay, this is the MPPV, this is your, and you have it now in the back office in our daily widget. This is customer PV, this is the total PV. Okay, this is the PV I need left to qualify for my trip, and how many more VIPs is that? So if I need 200 PV left, I know that's 2 more VIPs, and that's how I track it. So this is one example of how to do it, and I wanted to share that for anyone, you know, who maybe struggles tracking their PV or their goals. But I literally like to break down everything, because for me, I know like, okay, December has what, 31 days. I'm gonna divide, if I'm going for, let's say 2000 PV, I'm gonna divide the 2000 by 31. But the reality is I'm not working those 31 days, right? So when I determine my my working days, I'm gonna divide by that number. So let's say I'm doing 20 days, right? Then I know, okay, this is how much PV you're getting done per day. So when we talk about our goals for the month, right? I'm gonna be talking about like revenue, so a sales target. I'm not talking about income, but you guys know the comp plan. So if you wanna do it by income, then you can go and do the math with the comp plan. But we're gonna be talking about a sales target for the month, and you wanna use the, if you wanna use an income target, utilize the compensation plan to calculate that income rate. If you don't know your average sales, you can use 150, but I think within our company, I think it varies even by person, because for me, I would say like my average sale is probably like between 100 and 120, right? I have girls who their average sale is like $300, $400, right? So it depends on the person. So you want to reverse engineer. Start with your goal. So let's say you want your PV to be 2,000, right? You know, you have to qualify for Vegas. You want it to be 2,000. You want that nice bonus, right? Divide that by the working days. Divide that by your average sales, and multiply that by the golden ratio that we talked about, so 10. And then there you're gonna have your daily activity goal, which is the 10 points. And based on your math, you now have your daily activity goal, right? So for example, let's say I had 3,000 PV that I wanted to accomplish, right? And I'm only working 20 days next month in December, right? Then I know that I have $150 that I have to sell per day, right? Now my $150 divided by my average sale times the golden ratio is gonna be 10, right? So I know I need 10 as my daily activity goal. Does that make sense with everybody?
I wanna clear something up. So when you say 10, your average, what do you mean about that? Like the golden ratio, like the amount of people that you need to reach out to get your goal?
So the golden ratio is just like, if I'm having 10 interactions, I know it's going to result one sale from that. Like that's just data for the industry, you know? So that's right here. The golden ratio is that 10-3-1. So the 10 prospects, Daniel D talks about it too, but like the 10 qualified prospects, right? 3 conversations is going to bring me 1 sale. And for us, like personally, I think that 1 sale could be a customer, or it could be a market partner. But for now, we're just going to be talking about like personal sales, so customers. But that's what that is. That's this 10 right here, right? Just I kept it at these numbers because they're nicer to work with. Like I'm not a math person, but I actually have a worksheet that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and I'll pull it up real quick so that you can see. It'll probably make more sense than this this presentation, and I'll send it in the group chat. Give me 1 second.
Like this is so good for people that are actually like having other jobs and want to do the business, because it's organization.
Yeah, that's how I am. Like I'm a very organized person. So the worksheet I have looks a little different, but it's from the same thing. Like, so here you have your sales goal, right? So the sales in dollars that you want to achieve this month, you divide that by the working days, which is the number of days that you want to work your business this month. and then divide that by the average sales, right? So we were using 150 for our example, but like if in your personal business is different, you can use that number. So that's going to be the average dollar value of sale in your business. If unknown, you can use 150, right? You're going to multiply that by the golden ratio, which is 10, which is what we just talked about. And then that's going to equal your daily activity goal. So to achieve your goal, you need to know how you need to do this many activity points per working day, right? So for our example, we got 10, right? So that's the 10 daily points we have. For me, that's IPAs, right? I know, okay, each IPA is a point. So here we have the qualifying activity, which is the IPA. The following list gives you examples of what counts as an activity point on any given day. This isn't an exhaustive list. I swear every Facebook group I go, there's a different list of IPAs. So like I try to consolidate them, but what I like to use honestly is the one that they gave us for tips from the top in August, because those were so good. And I'll talk about this like a little bit at the end, but there's a difference, right? There's a difference between passive IPAs and active IPAs. So like if you think about it, right? Like a passive IPA is you doing IGTV on your feed about the VIP program, right? Because if you think about it, when people reach out to you, they're gonna be like, okay, what's the VIP program? You can send that, right? And it's one IPA that is giving you passive income, because you don't have to explain over and over again what the VIP program is. But an active income would be you signing up a customer, you signing up a market partner, you having your customers place orders, because you know that's giving you a paycheck the following week, if that makes sense, right? So this, I have it in a different format that I'll share with you guys.
Adrien, something that I wanted to give you guys is that I was learning from Jessie Lee that she does a lot of shortcuts. So what she does is that she writes like down like all the benefits of being a VIP. And like you put the shortcut and you don't have to do it again.
Yes.
So you know that you're basically having the same conversation with your market partners, your potential market partners, and your potential VIPs. So don't waste your time like writing it all again and just do a shortcut.
You can do that if you guys have an iPhone. I know I've talked about this before. You can do the shortcuts like in your settings, but I actually found out, I don't remember how to do it, but I found out you could actually do it on Instagram. There's a way to save, it's called save replies or something. And honestly, it's the best thing, because if you think about it, like I pretty much start all my conversations, like the only difference is when I use voice notes, but I start all my conversations the same. When I'm reaching out to somebody who I either wrote to me about the business or did my quiz, it's always like, oh, like, thank you so much for your interest and stuff like that. Where are you located, right? Ever since, I don't know if you guys watched that training video with Isa, and I think her name is Rachel Jova. They broke down their conversations with potentials, and they're like two of the top recruiters in the company. And I switched that. And even when somebody tells me what country they're in, I'm like, oh, like what city are you in? Where are you located? Because then I get to learn a little bit more about them. Then I go on to talk about their occupation, and it keeps the conversation flowing, because I stop making it about me and what's money, you know, like all of that stuff, and start making it about them, so that they're already telling you all the information. But let me get back to it. But it's good. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ale. So now for points, right? Everything counts. Retention creates the same income in new sales. So remember, like we should always, I don't want to call them touches, but like this business is like high tech, high touch, right? We should always be on our customers' mind, always be on our audience's forefront, because if you think about it, we always say like, oh, people only buy from people they know, like, and trust. Well, if your client buys from you and they never hear from you again, you know, like you're not checking in with them when they place an order, even if they tend to, I have customers who like do things on their own, which is perfectly fine, but I want to make sure that I'm always in touch with them, right? Because then I'm able to share with them, like I have a customer who randomly orders her shampoo, and it's not what I recommended her, but I'm like, okay, right? You want to try the volumizing shampoo? Like she was using the black shampoo. perfectly fine. But I asked her, right? Like, hey, I saw you place the order. How is it working for you? How do you like that in comparison to this? You know, did you think about switching over to the Rejuvenate Intensive now that it's winter? You know, like different conversations. It doesn't even have to be about the business. If you know them personally, you can engage with them about that. Like right now, it's the holidays. You can send them out little goodies. Like I've seen so many directors doing is sending out little goodies. Even if you don't have extra product lying around, you can do this with what do you call it? Like scrunchies, the little things that come in the grab bags, you know how they have like the little clips for blow drying, whatever they're called. I think they're like alligator clips, the little pinches, different stuff. It could be money branded, it could not be money branded, or it could just be a simple thank you card. People appreciate that because you took the time to handwrite them a letter, right? But I'm very huge on retention, because I noticed that the more I interact with my customers, the more my PV comes up, right? Like most of the time now, I don't even have to worry about going out of my way to contact my customers, because they're like, oh yeah, like what sale's going on? It's Friday. I know Money has a flash sale, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's this, you know, whatever. It's not necessarily that they're self-sufficient, but they already know, okay, like it's 11 a.m. on a Friday. Is there a flash show or not? You know, that type of thing. So follow up. Touch point of an existing client, add all of these for the month and subtract from the total goal. Remainder is new activity. After automatics, we need prospects and feed posts. So the automatic, an example of an automatic would be like if you have a customer that orders, you know that within 30 days you're following up for that order, right? Like you have that system already in place. That's an example of an automatic. And then here is the formula that we went over. Like I said, it's the sales goals divided by the number of days divided by average sales times the golden ratio, which is 10. And that's your daily activity goal. I would say, like, honestly, it's probably going to equal 10 anyways, but 10 is a really good place to start, right? Because, you know, each IPA you do is going to equal to 1 point. So here are those qualifying activities that we went over on the worksheet. There's different ones, and honestly, there's more than this. But for example, a reach out, this is what I wanted to touch upon. A reach out is not necessarily you offering somebody the business, right? Like, I mean, yes, a reach out could be like, hey, have you ever heard of Money? But a reach out could just be like, oh my God, I saw your story and absolutely love your sweater. Where's it from? You're talking to somebody, and then the follow-up, you know, after you've already created that relationship and that person is from your warm market, then yes, you can 100% offer the business. But the reach out doesn't necessarily have to be like a presentation of the business. That's what I wanted to mention. And for events, it doesn't have to be an in-person event, especially now. I know, like, we've been doing virtual events, potentials calls, whatever it may be. The events, what I would say is they can also be virtual, they can be hybrid, whatever you want them to be. You know how you run your business, essentially. So prioritize your IPAs, right? Like I said, we have passive versus active income producing activities. I actually made a list of breaking up your IPAs throughout the day. So let me pull that up for you guys. This is the end of the presentation. I try to make it, I hope everything makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know, but I try to make it as quick as possible for you guys. I'm sorry, of course, I have 5,000 tabs open on my computer, and I'm just trying to find this. 1 second. Okay, awesome. Share my screen. All right, can you guys see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is what I have, and then here, setting up your daily IPA, so your income producing activities, right? Your IPAs are your non-negotiables for your business. So the other way I refer to this is like your daily method of operation, right? in the morning, you wake up your team with motivation. You should have a morning routine. That's going to be probably another call, but wake up your team with motivation, personal development, content, business updates, etc. Right? Check your back office reports and progress tracker. Let me zoom this in so you guys can see a little better. Post to your feed and story with value adding content. Showing your face early in the day maximizes engagement. So personally, I play around with this, but they say that showing your face and adding like an interactive poll maximizes your engagement the most in your story. So like, for example, you could be like, you know, how did you wake up today? Or like, is it going to be a good day or a bad day? You know, like different stuff. You guys know your audience, but using those poll, those quiz stickers, the swipey sticker, and having your face in that first story of the day is supposedly supposed to boost your story in the algorithm. So post to your feed/story with value adding engagement. Okay, listen to personal development, podcast, books, etc. Set up your day for success. 100%, I'm a huge believer in pouring into yourself and feeding your mind before you go out into the world and before you get on socials, even before talking to your team. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So that is what you need to focus on in the morning. Okay, in the afternoon, check in with your team, see if they need help with quizzes, you know, have some content ideas and throw up a challenge. You can have a social media challenge for them, and then post on your story again, something related to the 5 pillars. So this is super important, right? Are you somebody who is valuable to your audience, right? So is it something that you're constantly posting Monet, constantly posting your personal life? Do you have a balance between that? And is like, the best way to get somebody to view your story is to add value. So like, for example, if you want to talk about right now what's super popular, well, that's not necessarily, but like the autumn, right? People are losing their hair, if you guys haven't noticed, right? People tend to shed a lot more in autumn, and it could be because 100 different things, but something that's super interesting is like, your hair is meant to protect your scalp, right? So scientists believe we have the most hair in July because obviously like the sun is at its peak in the summer. And so every 100 days, every 90 days, we go through that cycle. So your hair sheds, it grows, and it rests, right? So 100 days after July would be now. And now is the time where your hair is shedding. And it kind of goes along with fall, right? It's not something to worry about, but I saw a lot of my followers posting about it, like, oh, you know, I have a lot of hair shed and stuff like that. So I told some of them, obviously having babies, it's COVID and there's like a baby boom right now. So I'm like, okay, it could be postpartum hair loss. Like maybe it's something that you haven't experienced yet because your body doesn't react to trauma until like 90 days after like a stressful event. Now, having a baby obviously is a stressful event, but people don't realize that because a lot of people think that like you're going to lose your hair the second that you have the baby, but it's not true, right? So I always tell people like, okay, how long has it been? With COVID right now, like people are experiencing hair loss 90 days after. So I have a post that I was using before that it has like a TikTok from Dr. Pimple Popper, because I'm not an expert, but she is, so they can hear from an expert and then I can explain it a little bit more. But then it shows like my authority, right? So I was sharing that, like I have an article to reference and stuff like that. And when I said that, right, people were like, oh, well, how do you address it? So what do? I have my Rejuvenate oil, right? I have the article from She Finds that says this is like the #1 product that dermatologists swear by for hair loss, right? Or hair shedding. I have my reel showing me doing my weekly oil treatment and how much my hair has grown. And then what do I do with that, right? Somebody's like, oh my God, I totally want to try it. Perfect. I have samples. Send me your address. That's an example of the passive income, right? Because the person is not necessarily going to show up and be my customer the next day, but they get to try the product. They get to see how it works. They're going to run out of a sample and then boom, they're going to be like, hey, I want to sign up. Can I get this product and become your client? Like, so I absolutely love that. Like that was one example of how you can add value on your stories. A lot of people are utilizing carousels now, which I absolutely love. because that's a way to have people come to your page, and you can literally have the different posts detailing on whatever topic that you're talking about. So find out what you can offer value in and utilize that as one of your strengths. Now in the nighttime, work with social media, right? I know we've been having some power hours lately, so you can utilize some of the IPs that we've given in there, but follow 5 new accounts with potentials for customers or market partners. I like utilizing hashtags when it comes to customers, honestly. Like I was telling this to one of my girls, you want to focus on the problem, right? So the problem might be hair loss, right? The problem might be people don't know how to grow their hair. The problem could be oily scalp, right? You have to stop selling a product and start selling a solution, right? So like for me, that was something that was super tricky, but like I had to stop focusing on like, the Rejuvenate oil is so great because it has 101 uses and blah, blah, blah. No, what's the problem? We just talked about the problem is shedding hair, right? Hair loss. Now this is the solution. Now, why is it the solution? Does that make sense? You know, like the black shampoo, right? The problem is an oily scalp. The solution is the black shampoo because it controls and balances the pH of my scalp. So I like utilizing hashtags a lot for that. And again, like somebody who's really good at this is Lisa Love. I think her name is Lisa Vega. Yeah, she's a executive director, and her reels, I think like we all saw her explode and her following explode, but it's because she utilizes hashtags like that that's focused on the problem, and she's able to give a value in her post, teach people about, you know, the Think 30 app, what is the difference, why you should not be using those, why you have the hair issues you do, and then offer Monet as the solution because we're different. Next up, engage with accounts in your potential folder on IG. So do 5 reach outs, not necessarily pitching the business or products, but reaching out to new people, starting a genuine conversation relevant to them. You always want to be introducing people into your funnel, right? Engage with the accounts in your potentials IG folder, so you can actually like put people into a folder on IG the same way you can save their posts and then go back to them if that's easier for you. I personally, I track people. I have a journal that I track people in, and I also utilize an Excel sheet with like their handle or like where I have my conversation with them, because it's much easier for me. Some people write it in a notebook. You find whatever works for you, right? Follow up with your VIPs and see how they're liking their products and if they're ready to add on to their routines, right? The way I always do it is 6-month hair care plan. That way people know like you don't necessarily have to order, but after your shampoo and conditioner and whatever your third product is, there's other products that you need in your routine to achieve the results that you want. Share how-to videos relevant to their hair and skin type. Maybe a smoothie recipe with one of our wellness products. Again, add value. Follow up on any open conversations. Don't let them go cold or stale. It's okay to get left unread or ignored. Continue to follow up and offer a sense of urgency. So like, honestly, if you're somebody who struggles with this, because I used to struggle with this, you guys be upfront about it. Like, address the elephant in the room, and the best thing to do is act like a normal person, because I know a lot of us don't act like a normal person. We're like, what do I say? What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. I always tell people, like, I've messaged people 3 times in a row and you never know what happens, right? I did it with somebody who the girl wanted the product so bad, she literally fell off the face of the earth. I found out she had an emergency and she went to Colombia, right? Of course, I wouldn't have known that, but like, that's why I was following up with her. If somebody needs to know that they can say no to you. If not, they're going to ignore you, right? If they feel like they can't say no to you, you're never going to get an answer from them. And this is why it's important to always have new people in our funnel, because if not, then we get stuck and we get sidetracked with the same people over and over again. So I kind of like to be like, hey, it's not in my MO to bother anybody. Like, I don't want that rep. I don't want the industry or the company to have that rep. So I'm like, hey, if you don't answer me, I'll put you on my do not disturb list, right? If it's been like, all right, I've spoken to them a few times, I didn't hear from them, or, you know, like, hey, I know you're ghosting me or whatever. It's not my MO to bother you. Just let me know that you're not interested, and, you know, I'll move on. like something to that effect. And I kid you not, it works, because some people just have that, like, I don't know if it's like non-confrontational or whatever. They have that fear of like telling you no, like they don't want to upset you. Maybe they're a people pleaser. Just let them know they can say no to you, and it'll help you get through a lot faster, because you guys know, like, if it takes 10 interactions to get one sale, that's 9 no's you have to go through, right? And let's say you signed up 2 customers, you know that's 18 no's that are coming at you, right? You have to get through them, and the faster you get through them, the quicker you get through the other yeses and you expand your business. So it's just a matter of urgency for yourself and your business. So the last one here, these are just examples. Listen or watch a training or a team call. Be a professional multitasker if you must, but always growing in knowledge about your business. This is super, super key, you guys. If there's anything that you leave with today, is to always be a student, right? I always tell people, like, you're only going to get what you put in. For me, I was like, I think I was watching a training video every hour when I first joined the business, because I was too afraid to ask my upline questions. I didn't want to bother her. She was also running her business. But for me, I wanted to know so much, right? 3 before me is a huge thing. If you guys don't know what 3 before me is try going to 3 resources before you ask your upline a question, right? You're gonna not only are you gonna find the answer, I guarantee you, but you're gonna find out way more. Why? Because you're utilizing your resources. I understand it could be super, super overwhelming, but if you are constantly, like, this is my perspective, if you're constantly attached to your upline, it's like an expectation of her or him running your business for you, right? You don't want that, because let's say like maybe your upline is doing this part-time, right? If your upline decides, I don't want to pursue the business anymore, you've instilled all of your faith, everything in that person. And the thing is the reality is like, that's not your boss, that's not your manager, right? You are you're responsible for your success in this business. And I think that's where a lot of people there's like a disconnect, because I've seen it a lot lately, like, oh, my upline left the business and I don't have access to this. My upline left the business and I don't know what to do anymore, right? You're allowed to have success without your upline. If you need to hear that, let that be known. There's 100% somebody in your team and your sideline and your downline in your upline who has done it. I see people do it around me every day, and honestly, I have a lot of respect for the people who don't have uplines and still do the business, because they're committed in it for themselves, right? And remember, you didn't maybe you signed up this business to help a friend, but you didn't sign up I can't talk today. You didn't sign up to this business to do it for somebody else, right? Ultimately, there's a reason why you decided to show up and do this business, or why you stayed to do this business, right? And it's something that's super important, especially if you're newer, whether you're in here now live or you're watching the replay, is super, super important. Like, I think I love my upline, don't get me wrong, but I've divorced from her because I understand that my results have nothing to do with what she offers me. Is she there as my coach? 100%. But she doesn't necessarily have to teach me how to play the game, right? A lot of you guys are athletes here, or a lot of you guys maybe have played a sport, or even parenting, right? As a parent, right? A lot of people fall into that role. Maybe it's not planned. Like I'm gonna talk about my mom, for example, right? My mom didn't have anybody saying, okay, this is how you do this, and this is how you put the girls to sleep, and this is how you make the bottle and stuff like that. No, it's stuff that she figured out on her own. Are we alive and well? Yes. I'm 22 and my sister's 27. There's nothing wrong with us, It's just you fail through a lot, but guess what? We get to learn as we earn here. Failing is success. And something that if you guys haven't listened to this podcast, there's a podcast by Vic Alario where she talks about failure, right? And she says the difference between winners and quitters is that the winners didn't quit. So that's super important. I want you guys to analyze, how do you look at failure? A lot of people right now have seen, maybe you've seen 2021 as like a low season in your life, but are you still here? Or have you walked away from yourself and walked away from the business, right? So remember, if you're here now, and I saw this on Sam Gomes Hodges' story, she was like, The people who have stayed through 2021 and have experienced the low season are about to reap what's to come in 2022. And that's super important. Like, one of my friends told me this the other day, and she was like, you don't know, like, even the people who have success early in the business, you don't know what dues they've paid in their life, right? Before the business, in another life, whatever it may be. But it's something to think about, because Vic was talking in the podcast and she was saying, you guys want my results, but you won't do what I do, right? You want my followers, but I've spent 6 or 7 years building my following, and you're trying to like grow on Instagram for 2 months and you're mad that you don't have the same results, right? Like, it's all about perspective. So I wanted you guys to think about that. I wanted you guys to focus with intention, because I really want to focus on business building habits that are going to help us in 2021. Because remember, everything you do now, you're not going to see the results of it before the end of the year. You're going to see it 90 days from now. So remember that everything is about building habits. It starts super small. So again, we're not starting from square one, even though the first of the month is tomorrow and it's super exciting. Your business doesn't end. All that resets is your back office. You've been building your business since the day that you started. Even if you feel like you're not where you want to be, you have the chance to have a fresh start. You have the chance to rebuild your foundation, right? So make sure that you're showing up in the way that you want. Make sure that you show up confidently, because I want to add that you guys have it in you. Even if you guys feel like you don't have it in you, I want you to breathe. I want you to reset and recenter yourself, right? Everything that's happening is in your mind, and some of us psych ourselves out before something even happens, but you are more than capable, because you would not have been put on this path if you weren't meant to be here. So I will end with that. Now that that we have finished the call, and again, if you guys have any questions about the training, just shoot me a message. I'm gonna go ahead and upload it on YouTube and send it in the chat, as well as those documents, pictures, whatever they're called. Yeah, the resources, I'm gonna send them in the chat for you guys. So bye everyone, thank you so much.